Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to explore a structured and essential process in inventory management, inventory use against requisition. This process ensures that internal inventory consumption is properly requested, approved, and tracked, maintaining transparency and control within the Onfinity system. Here is the agenda that we will be covering today. We will begin by understanding the concept of internal inventory use against requisition. Next, we will look at the objective of this session. The objective of this session is to enable you to understand inventory use and its necessity in the context of business processes. It will also enable you to test the inventory use process in the context of business requirements. Now let's review the prerequisites. Before initiating inventory use against requisition, there are a few requirements you need to have in place. First, you must have access to the Onfinity platform with a valid user ID and password. Second, the tenant and organization configurations must be completed and available. So, let us begin our session by taking a moment to understand what inventory use is. Companies use their inventories mainly for production as raw materials, or for distribution as merchandise. However, there is also inventory consumption for various internal needs, such as spare parts or fuel. This type of inventory consumption is called internal consumption. In Onfinity, to record the internal consumption of goods or services, we have the Inventory Use screen. This screen allows you to document and track inventory movements that are not related to sales or production, ensuring real-time visibility and accountability. There are two methods to create inventory use. The first method is independent inventory use, where the record is created directly. The second method is creating inventory use against a requisition. In this session, we will focus on inventory use against requisition. Independent inventory use has already been covered in a separate session. It's advisable to review that session to clearly understand when and how independent inventory use is created and the specific cases where it is applied. Let's move ahead. Once the concept is clear, it is important to identify the process flow configuration task. To record an inventory use, here are some more prerequisites which must be available in the system. These include the document type, warehouse and locator, product, unit of measure, and charge. These configurations are essential for generating unique document numbers, recording transactions accurately, and updating inventory quantities in real time. Let us now move forward to review the inventory use against requisition use case. We will understand a practical example to better understand how inventory use against requisition works, and examine, step by step, how this process is carried out in practice. Sonic Venture is setting up a new office in Mohali. The IT department requires 2 more smartphones to issue for mobile app testing to the testers. A formal material requisition, MR, is created to allocate the smartphones from the central inventory. The material requisition is reviewed by the department head for relevance and urgency of the inventory. Before moving ahead with the use case execution, let us first examine the inventory use against requisition process flowchart. This chart represents the fundamental structure used to initiate the inventory use against requisition process. The process flowchart illustrates the complete life cycle of inventory use against requisition, from the initiation of the requisition to the final inventory adjustment. The process begins with creating a requisition specifying items, quantities, and priority. After requisition approval, the warehouse verifies availability. If the items are available, an inventory use record is created against the approved requisition. Once the inventory use record is completed, the system automatically updates the inventory to reflect the consumption. Now, let us move ahead to see how the inventory use against requisition use case is executed, demonstrating how the process works in practice. Once the material requisition is approved, the central warehouse manager at Sonic Ventures verifies the availability of the smartphones. If inventory is sufficient, inventory use is generated and the transfer proceeds. If not, procurement of additional units is initiated. After inventory use completion, the inventory in the warehouse is updated to reflect the usage. This ensures that inventory records remain accurate and up to date, facilitating proper tracking of stock and efficient internal resource management. Now that we have covered the conceptual foundation and purpose of inventory use, let us move into the Onfinity system to see, step by step, how an inventory use against requisition transaction is created and processed in practice. To begin, open the Onfinity link in the browser. Log in using your user ID and password. Enter your valid user ID. Enter your password and then click on Login to access the Onfinity system. After logging into Onfinity, you'll arrive at the homepage of Onfinity with various mosaics. These display real-time business insights, though some may appear empty because no relevant transactions have been recorded yet. Once relevant transactions are created, the mosaics will automatically display updated data, so you can ignore the empty mosaics for now. To execute our use case of inventory use against requisition, we first need to create a requisition in the system. This will allow us to proceed with creating inventory use against requisition. You can either search directly for the requisition using the menu search utility or navigate to Procurement Management, where you will find the requisition module. Within the requisition module, you will find the requisition. Click on a requisition to open it, and the requisition landing page will be displayed. On this page, you will see various mosaics that can be used to filter records, along with KPIs that display real-time data. Additionally, comparison charts are available to assist with analysis and performance review. The details of requisitions and the associated mosaics will be covered in depth in the procurement management sessions. In this session, we will focus only on what is needed to create an inventory use against a requisition. For now, we will create a new requisition record. To do this, click on the New Record option in the mosaic. This will open the screen in single record view, allowing you to enter the required details for the new requisition. First, select the organization under which you want to create the transaction. For our use case, we will select Sonic Ventures. Next, in the document type field, select the appropriate document type. This ensures that the requisition can be properly processed and easily identified. By default, the system provides purchase requisition as the document type. However, to differentiate requisitions used for internal purposes, we can create a separate document type called material requisition. To create this, select and zoom into the purchase requisition document type record and open it in single record view. There is no difference in configuration between a material requisition and a purchase requisition document type. Both function the same way in processing requisitions. The only difference is the name, which allows for easy identification. We can name the new document type Material Requisition, so that it clearly indicates whether the requisition is for internal material movement, such as inventory consumption, or inventory transfer, rather than for creating a purchase. For identification purposes, we will create a second document type for the requisition. To do this, click on Copy Record to copy the existing purchase requisition document type. Next, change the name to Material Requisition and provide a print name, which will be used when printing documents. The document base type remains the same as Purchase Requisition. Update the search key field and set it as MRQ. Now, here we also have document sequence for the requisition number. Let us create a new document sequence for our Material Requisition document type. Simply select the Add New option from the Document Sequence field. This will open the transaction sequence screen to enter the details. First, select the organization. Next, enter the name, for example, Material Requisition. After this, enable auto-numbering so that you can enter the current next and start number. For this example, both the current next and start number will be 8 million. After entering these details and minimal settings, save the record for now. Let's return to the document type screen, refresh the field, search for Material Requisition, and select it. Based on this, your requisition number will be created for the transaction. Now, save the document type. After saving, your record is updated. The details of document type and transaction sequence configurations are already explained in their dedicated sessions, and if you want to see more detail, you can watch the dedicated session under Basic Setup. Let us now move to the requisition screen, where we will use the material requisition document type. First, refresh the document type field, and you will see the newly created material requisition document type, which will be distinct from the purchase requisition. Next, enter the document date on which you are requesting the components or items. You may also specify the requester if you want to identify the person who is raising this requisition. If the requester exists in the system, you can select them. However, this field is optional, so it can be left blank in cases where the requisition is raised by a department rather than an individual. In the priority field, you can define the urgency of this requisition. Multiple priority levels are available. For example, let us mark this requisition as high priority. Then, enter the required date by which the item is expected. For our example, we will set the required date as the 20th of June, 2025. The requested warehouse refers to the warehouse from which the required item or product is being requested. In our example, we will select the Sonic Ventures warehouse. Here, we also have the option of selecting a source warehouse. This field is primarily used in the case of a material transfer. If the product is not available in the requested warehouse, you can define a source warehouse from which the product will be moved. The same applies if the transfer is happening within the same warehouse, but between two different locators. For our current use case, since this request is for internal consumption, we will keep both the requested and source warehouse as Sonic Ventures warehouse. Next, we need to select the price list, which defines the prices and currency for the products. In our case, we will select the purchase price list in INR. Once that is selected, let's save the header. Here, you will also see the preparer field, which by default captures the login user who created the record. There is also a description field, where you can enter any additional notes if required. However, since this field is optional and has no dependency, we will leave it blank for now. After saving the header, the next step is to add the lines. You will notice multiple buttons available here. For example, the Calculate Budget button can be used to check the budget allocation, which will be explained in detail in the dedicated budget controlling session. We also have the Copy from Other Requisition button, which allows us to add lines from an existing requisition. To use this, simply click the button, enter the requisition number, click on OK, and the lines from that requisition will be added here. Another button is Create Lines from Cart, which allows you to insert lines from available carts. Since no carts are created yet, this will be covered in the dedicated session on inventory count and cart functionality. For now, to add a product line, you can either navigate to the Lines tab by clicking on the Tab button, or you can add it directly from the composite view. In this case, let's click on the New Record option within the composite view to add a new line. Next, we need to select the product that will be used in this requisition. For our use case, we'll take Redmi Note 10. Once the product is selected, we move to the Attribute Set Instance field. If the product has attributes defined, we can assign them here. Simply click on the Attribute Set Instance option, and the form will open. From this form, you can either generate a new attribute or select an existing one. For now, since we already have an available record, we will select the existing attribute. To do this, click Select Existing Record, choose the required attribute combination, and confirm with OK. Finally, click OK again to add it, and the selected attribute set instance will be applied to the product line. Now, enter the quantity you want to request. As per our use case, let's enter 2. The price will automatically update from the selected price list. Since this is an internal document, the price is mainly for reference. If needed, you can edit it, but please note that it has no further linkage with other transactions. Once the details are entered, save the line record. Next, move to the header panel and click on the Complete Document Action button. Confirm with OK, and the requisition document status will now be updated as completed. Now that the requisition record is completed, you can also proceed with posting. Simply click on the Not Posted button and then confirm by selecting OK. The system will now post this requisition record successfully. At this point, take a look at the header panel of the requisition screen. This panel displays key information such as organization, requisition number, document date, currency, subtotal, document status, and the action buttons for document processing and posting. These fields give a consolidated view and quick insights into the requisition record, helping users easily review important details without navigating elsewhere. For now, that concludes the requisition process. Let's move ahead to the inventory use screen and see how we can use this requisition to create an inventory use transaction. You can either search for inventory use through the menu search utility or navigate to the material management module. Under storage operations, you will find inventory use. Click on it to open the screen. This will bring you to the inventory use landing page. Here, you will see different mosaics that can be used to filter the records already available in the system. You will also notice charts that provide quick insights. For example, one chart displays the top 10 products expiring within the next 30 days, helping you track items that are nearing expiry. Another chart shows the top 10 highest stock products, highlighting the items with the largest quantities currently available in the warehouses. Now let us proceed by clicking on the New Record mosaic to create a new transaction. First, we will select the organization, in this case, Sonic Ventures. Next, we select the warehouse from which the product will be consumed. Here as well, we will choose the Sonic Ventures warehouse. Moving ahead, in the document type field, we will select internal inventory use. This document type is specifically designed to process consumption-related transactions. Based on the selected document type, the system will automatically update the inventory use number accordingly. With these details in place, we can now save the header. Since we have already reviewed the purpose of the header fields and buttons in detail during our previous session on inventory use. To add a line, we will click on the Create Lines from Requisition button. This will open the Create Lines from page. From here, we will select the requisition. Clicking on the Requisition field option will display the requisition page with the list of available requisitions. Let's go ahead and select the requisition that we created earlier. After confirming with OK, the system will fetch the requisition details onto the Create Lines from page, including the product line information. Now, you just need to select the product line. Here we also have the option to edit the quantities in the Issue Quantity field. If we want to update the quantity, we can enter the actual quantity that we are going to receive. So for now, let's proceed with a quantity of 2 and click OK. You will see an information message, Lines inserted successfully, confirming that the line has been inserted successfully. Next, click on the Lines tab button to move to the Lines tab for verification. Here, the inserted product line will be visible. You can also click on the product hyperlink to open it in the single record view. Within this view, you can verify all the details, and you will notice that the requisition line field has also been updated with the requisition details that we used earlier. Now let's move back to the header tab. Finally, if we talk about the 2 remaining process buttons, Create Lines from Cart and Create Lines from Work Order, these will be explained in separate dedicated sessions, as they cover different functionalities. Here's one more important point to keep in mind. Let's move back to the Lines tab and open the record in single record view by clicking on the product hyperlink. Now, from the product field options, let's zoom into the used product. For a product to be used in inventory use, the consumable check button must be enabled. Only then can this product be issued through the inventory use against requisition process. By clicking on the product hyperlink, the product details will open in single record view. From here, click on the Stock Details tab to navigate to the Stock Details tab. Here, you will find that this product has the consumable check button set to true. This is mandatory because only consumable products can be selected while inserting lines from a requisition during an inventory use transaction. If the consumable check button is not enabled, the product will instead appear under the non-consumable items section of the Create Lines from page, and in that case, you will not be able to select the product line. Now, let's move back to the Inventory Use screen. Now let's move back to the Header tab. If you click on the Create Lines from button, you will notice a separate section labeled Non-Consumable Items within Create Lines from page. Any product that does not have the consumable check button enabled will appear in this section. Such products cannot be selected for the inventory use process, so let's close this page for now. With that clarified, we can now move ahead and complete the record. To do this, simply click on the Complete Document Action button available on the header panel. A confirmation message will appear. Click OK to proceed. Once the record is completed, it becomes read-only, and the system automatically deducts the consumed quantity from the selected warehouse. The final step is to post the transaction so that it is properly recorded in the ledger accounts. For this, click on the Not Posted button, confirm by clicking OK, and the document will be successfully posted. You may also generate a printout of the inventory use record. To do this, click on the Print option, choose the required format, and the system will provide a detailed printout of the selected transaction. With this step, we have successfully completed the end-to-end walkthrough, from creating a requisition to executing the inventory use transaction. Let's now move back to the presentation. Our next topic is the inventory use mosaics, which we had already seen earlier on the landing page of the inventory use screen. From the Create View mosaic, we can directly view all records or create a new one. The Advanced Search mosaic allows us to apply filters, while Warehouse and Document Status mosaics help us narrow down documents more precisely. We can also open the Material Issue form directly from its mosaic. And finally, we have analytical charts, such as the top 10 products expiring in 30 days and the top 10 highest stock products, that give us a clear snapshot for analysis. This concludes our session on inventory use against requisition. Thank you for attending.